Sheikh Hasina holds talks with France's President Emmanuel Macron. Dhaka and Paris to float joint commission to boost economic ties. OIC Special Summit on Jerusalem issue takes place tomorrow. President Mohammed Abdul Hamid now in Istanbul to attend the summit. European Union will not recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital before final peace agreement, says EU Foreign Policy Chief. Helpline number 999 launched to provide emergency assistance of police, fire service and ambulance to people across the country. And wrongful riders clinched trophy of 5th BPL, beating Dhaka Dynamite by 57 runs. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to News at 10 on BTV, BTV World and BTV Chittagong Centre. I am Roya Zabin.
And I'm Nafis Imtiazuddin. You've just heard the headlines. We have details of those and other stories coming up. Dhaka and Paris today agreed to constitute a joint commission to explore the opportunities of cooperation in the fields of trade and economy and other priority areas. The decision was taken at the bilateral meeting between French President Emmanuel Macron and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at the Élysée Palace in Paris today. Briefing reporters after the meeting, Foreign Secretary Mohammed Shahidul Haq said the two leaders, in a very cordial and warm atmosphere, discussed the bilateral and global issues of mutual interest. 5 issues were discussed at the meeting, including the most important, climate change. The Rohingya issue, as well as Bangladesh's constant stride in combating terrorism, also came up in the discussion between the two leaders. As the French president wanted to know the latest situation about the Rohingyas and Bangladesh's expectation from France on this issue, the Prime Minister said about 1 million forcibly displaced Myanmar citizens have intruded into Bangladesh, creating enormous problems in all respects, as well as a climate disaster. The French president assured the Prime Minister of their continued humanitarian support and playing a role in all global bodies for a permanent solution to the problem. President Mohammed Abdul Hamid arrived at Istanbul early today to join the extraordinary Islamic Summit Conference of the Organization for Islamic Cooperation, OIC, convened for the 13th of December. President Mohammed Abdul Hamid was welcomed at the airport by Bangladesh Ambassador to Turkey, M. Allama Siddiqui, Istanbul Consulate General Mohammed Munirul Islam and Deputy Governor of Istanbul, Ahmed Hamdi, and high officials of the Foreign Ministry. The President is staying at the Conrad Istanbul Bosporus during his Turkey visit to join the OIC's 6th Extraordinary Summit at the invitation of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who currently chairs the grouping of the Muslim states. Earlier, the President and his entourage left Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport for Istanbul on a regular flight of Turkish Airlines. Finance Minister Abul Mal Abdul Muhith, Industries Minister Amir Hosanamu, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Cabinet Secretary, Chiefs of the 3 services, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Turkish Ambassador to Bangladesh, IGP and senior officials saw the President off at the airport. President Mohammed Abdul Hamid is scheduled to return home early Wednesday by a special VVIP flight of Biman Bangladesh Airlines. The government has launched the 999 emergency helpline to serve the citizens of the country. Prime Minister's ICT Affairs Advisor Shojib Wajid Joy inaugurated the National Emergency Service 999, at a function held in Dhaka's National Control and Command Centre, commonly known as the Police Control Room in the capital today. Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal, State Minister for ICT Junaid Ahmed Bolok and senior police officials were present. With the inauguration of the service, people from every corner of the country will get 24/7 emergency services from police, ambulance and fire service by just dialing 999 over both mobile phone and landlines. At the function, Shoji Joy said the government was working to build a modern Bangladesh in the truest sense. He said the present government was pledge-bound to reach all the modern facilities to the doorsteps of the countrymen. Awami League is pledge-bound to ensure sustainable development of the country, Shoji Joy said, adding, the party does not only concentrate on the present, but also the future welfare of the people of the country. Later, Shoji Joy went round the police call centre at the police control room.
Speaker Dr Shirin Sharmin Choudhury has said small and medium enterprises, SMEs, are making huge contributions to the national economy. She was addressing the concluding ceremony of Bangladesh Startup Cup 2017 at BRAC Centre in Dhaka today. Among others, Deputy Head of Mission of the Netherlands, Sheikh, Director of Project Management for Better Stories, Alan Hussein Salima, and its Managing Director Minhaz Anwar also spoke on the occasion. The speaker said rural women are also working with the small and medium entrepreneurs across the country. Women are contributing to the family and society and ultimately the country's economy by earnings from their works at home, she added. Later, certificates were distributed among 57 small and medium entrepreneurs from across the country. Finance Minister Abul Mal Abdul Muhith has said more banks are needed for providing banking services at the doorsteps of people across the country. He said this to the reporters on the sidelines of a contract signing ceremony at the Finance Ministry in the capital today. Skills for Employment Investment Program SEIP of the ministry signed agreements with Bangladesh University of Textiles BUTEX and East West University EWU, aiming to establish an executive development center to develop skills of professionals. SEIP Executive Program Project Director Abdul Rauf Talukdar, BUTEX Vice Chancellor Professor Masood Ahmed and EWU Vice Chancellor Professor M.M. Shahidul Hussain signed the agreements on behalf of their respective sites. The Finance Minister said there is a provision for merging banks and the government is updating the provision. As per the provision, interested banks can merge, he said. Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh Harshvardhan Shringla made a courtesy call on Health and Family Welfare Minister Mohammad Nasim at the Secretariat in Dhaka today. They discussed various matters of bilateral interests, including activities of various projects of health sector running in Bangladesh with Indian assistance. State Minister for Health Zahid Malik, Health Division Secretary Mohammad Shirajul Haq Khan, Health Education Division Secretary Faiz Ahmed and other high officials concerned were present during the call-on. Mentioning continued assistance of India in socio-economic development, the Health Minister said, India is the tested friend of Bangladesh from the period of War of Liberation.
And now international news. The European Union has rejected the Donald Trump call to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said this at a joint press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday in Brussels. Besides, an extraordinary summit of the OIC will be held in Istanbul tomorrow to discuss the Jerusalem issue following Trump's declaration. Details by Rahman.
to recognize Jerusalem as Israeli capital. At a joint press conference at Brussels, the EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini has said there was full EU unity in support of the status quo. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu December 2017, after a meeting with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Putin said both Russia and Turkey think the decision of the US to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel is not helping the situation in the Middle East. Rather, it destabilizing the region and wiping out the prospect of peace. Earlier, North Korea has lambasted Donald Trump's decision and described him as a dotard in a statement released on 9 December 2017 on state media. North Korea has condemned the US President's decision on Jerusalem and called it as a reckless and wicked act.
His decision is an open neglect of and insult to international legality and the unanimous will of the international community, and it deserves world denunciation and rejection.
Meanwhile, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has described Israel as a terrorist state and vowed to use all means to fight against the US recognition of Jerusalem as its capital. The Turkish president has used his position as the current chairman of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC) to call a summit of the Pan-Islamic group on 13 December 2017. Erdogan said the OIC summit will definitely bring a concrete decision on Jerusalem issue.
The Jerusalem Embassy Act.
US President Donald Trump's declaration to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and relocate the US Embassy from Tel Aviv sparked anger across the Muslim world and drew expressions of concern and disapproval from US allies. Protests continue at various parts of Palestine and also in other Muslim countries. Hundreds of Muslims residing in the Washington area attended Friday prayers outside the White House on 8 December 2017 in protest of the declaration by US President Donald Trump.
It's not for Trump, it's not for the Jewish people to decide who takes Jerusalem. First thing, you can't give someone something you don't have. It's not yours. You know, you can't just tell, oh, Jerusalem is for Israel because I say so.
Rahman, Bangladesh Television.
European governments are knowingly complicit in the torture and abuse of refugees and migrants in Libya, Amnesty International has alleged. The EU is actively supporting a system of abuse and exploitation on Libyan shores, the group said in a report. EU funds are going to authorities working with militias and people smugglers, the report says. The EU has provided ships, training and funding to the Libyan Coast Guard.
Agriculture Minister Begum Motia Choudhury has said Awami League will win in the next general elections due to far-sighted leadership of Bangabandhu's daughter and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. She was addressing a discussion at the Jatiyo Press Club auditorium in Dhaka today. Mohila Awami League arranged the discussion marking the victory day with its president Safia Khatun in the chair. Among others, Awami League Advisory Council member Advocate Sahra Khatun, Joint General Secretary Mahbubul Alam Hanif and Women Affairs Secretary Fazilatun Nisa Indira also spoke, while General Secretary of Mohila Awami League Mahmouda Begum conducted the discussion. Motia Choudhury said the present government under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is working for the betterment of women. She urged the women to keep up their role so that the Awami League can win in the next general elections. She said the next parliament elections will be held as per the constitution. Mahbubul Alam Hanif urged BNP to take part in the next polls. Industries Minister Amir Hossain Ammu has urged entrepreneurs to come forward to advance the country's ongoing development activities for achieving Vision 2021 and Sustainable Development Goals SDGs. He was addressing the inaugural session of the 11th Asian International Trade and Tourism Expo 2017 at the International Convention City, Boshuntara in Dhaka today. Amir Hossain Ammu said the government is implementing a number of mega projects, including 4-lane highways on Dhaka-Chittagong and Dhaka-Mymensingh roads, Podda Multipurpose Bridge Construction Project, Dhaka Metro Rail Project and Paira Deep Seaport for developing the country's infrastructure. About 120 entrepreneurs from different countries, including Bangladesh, Thailand, China, India, Pakistan, Singapore, Nepal, Bhutan and Malaysia are taking part in the 4-day exhibition. Awami League General Secretary Obaidul Qadir has said the demand for dialogue does not match with BNP, as BNP itself shut the way of dialogue. He was addressing the inauguration of a member collection campaign of Awami League at Shohid Abdul Razak Park in Shatkhira. Among others, former Health and Family Welfare Minister AFM Ruhul Haq, Awami League Joint General Secretary Abdul Rahman, Organizing Secretary Abu Said Al Mahmoud Shapun, lawmaker Mushtaq Ahmed Robi and District Awami League General Secretary Muhammad Narsul Islam addressed the function, with District Awami League President Mansoor Ahmed in the chair. Obaidul Qadir urged the partymen to work unitedly, imbued with the spirit of liberation war and the glorious history of the party, to help the government materialize the Vision 2021. He said Awami League developed itself through waging different democratic movements for the betterment of the common people of the country. Obaidul Qadir urged the party leaders and workers to devote themselves to the welfare of the people so that they cast their votes in favor of Awami League again in the next general election.
Jashud President and Information Minister Hassanul Haq said BNP is the den of Razakars, killers, militants and fire terrorists. He was addressing a meeting titled Thoughts of Victory Day, organized by Bangladesh Nationalist Front BNF on the occasion of the birth anniversary of Maulana Abdul Hamid Khan Pashani at the National Press Club in the capital today. BNF President and Member of Parliament SM Abul Kalam Azad and other BNF leaders were present. Hassanul Haq said Jamaat, Razakar militants and their associates Khaleda Zia BNP should be given final farewell from politics and power in Bangladesh. Chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Ministry of Environment and Forests, Dr Hassan Mahmood, said Russia has been playing an important role in Bangladesh's access to the nuclear era, as they contributed to reconstruct the post-independence war-torn Bangladesh. He was addressing the closing ceremony of the month-long festival held to celebrate the centenary of the Russian Revolution at the Russian Culture Center in the capital today. Chaired by Liberation War Academy President Dr Abul Azad, among others, folk singer Fokir Alamgir and Director of Russian Science and Culture Center Alexander Debin spoke on the occasion. Dr Hassan Mahmood said since independence in Bangladesh has had excellent bilateral relations with Russia. The mutual ties will grow stronger in future, he hoped. The month-long program was inaugurated on the 17th of November at the National Shahid Minar, paying homage to the martyrs of the Russian Revolution and the Bangladesh Liberation War. And now news from the world of sport. Rangpur Riders clinched the championship trophy of BPL Cricket 2017, beating Dhaka Dynamites by 57 runs in the final match at Mirpur in Dhaka today. Chasing a victory target of 207 runs, Dhaka Dynamites managed to score 149 for 9 in their stipulated 20 overs. Zahrul Islam scored the highest 50 runs for Dhaka. Earlier, Dhaka won the toss and sent Rangpur into bat first. Rangpur Riders scored 206 runs, losing only 1 wicket for their stipulated 20 overs. Caribbean batting monster Chris Gayle was unbeaten on 146 runs, while Brendan McCullum was unbeaten on 51 runs for Rangpur. Chris Gayle scored 146 from just 69 balls with 5 fours and 18 sixes. Not only this, he made history of the highest sixes in T20 cricket. Gayle scored his second century of BPL 2017 and totals a 5th in BPL. And now, before we end the news, let's take a look at what's making the headlines here. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina holds talks with French President Emmanuel Macron, Dhaka and Paris to float joint commission to boost economic ties. OIC Special Summit on Jerusalem issue takes place tomorrow. President Mohammed Abdul Hamid now in Istanbul to attend the summit. European Union will not recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital before final peace agreement, says EU Foreign Policy Chief. Helpline number 999 launched to provide emergency assistance of police, fire service and ambulance to people right across the country. And Rangpur Riders clinched the trophy of the 5th BPL, beating Dhaka Dynamites by 57 runs.
That's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us. We invite you to